Today I am here with Kathie Carnahan, who is one of the participants in my inaugural Camino walk with Rebecca. We have just completed 2 days on the Camino Inglés, and so we are here to ask Kathie about her experience and share some information with you guys about this route. For those of you that don't know, the Camino Inglés is a 5 to 9 day route from Ferrol in Spain down to Santiago de Compostela. And I say 5 to 9 days because you can literally plan a Camino how you would like. We've met people that are doing 5 days. We've met people that are doing 9 days. We are doing a 7 day route. So we will arrive in Santiago on Friday. So let's head over to Kathie. And Kathie, my first question for you is, how did you hear about the Camino de Santiago?
I first heard about it through following Rebecca, and she had so much information that she was sharing online. And I knew Rebecca previously. We'd known each other through another Camino group. And I thought, if Rebecca's putting this together, it's called the Camino Calls, her company, and it was calling to me. So that's how I heard about it, and I was delighted to know about it. And I jumped on that bandwagon as soon as I could and brought my sister-in-law along for the ride as well.
Wonderful. And I'm just going to move my location here for a second just to make sure that we are coming through on the audio as well as we can. So my next question is, you brought your sister-in-law along, but what made you guys, how long have you been thinking about doing the Camino?
I've been thinking about doing the Camino since COVID. It's been 5 years.
Okay.
I've been actively thinking about it.
Mhm.
And I've actively talked to my sister-in-law about it since then as well. So this is something I've had in the works. I literally had a box of Camino items, saved clothing, poles, pair of tiny binoculars, things like that, been collecting to take along on a Camino. I didn't have one planned, but I knew I would go. I just didn't know when it would be the time to go. So that's it has been actively planning. I attended some sessions at REI regarding the Camino previously and learned more about it. And the more I learned, the more I wanted to participate. So I knew I had to.
Wonderful, wonderful. And so for those of you that don't know, at REI, it's an outdoor gear company around the US. And there are some of us that give talks at various REI stores about the Camino de Santiago. So in fact, I'm giving one in Asheville in November about the Camino. So Kathie, tell us, how was your experience to even, first of all, get here? Because getting to any Camino starting point is not necessarily an easy feat.
That was one part I was dreading. I thought, oh my goodness, how will I ever find it? How will I know how to get there? Quite frankly, Rebecca, the instructions you sent or the suggestions of a variety of different routes to get to Ferrol, where we began this adventure, was quite helpful. And I could use those leads to check out different airlines from different cities, and then figure out if I wanted to take a train or a plane to the smaller areas or a bus. That's another option as well. I ultimately flew from the United States into Madrid and then took a flight from Madrid to Corunna.
Cameroon,
Spent the
yeah.
night. Yes, after that day, it was a long day and night. And then the following day, I had a cab and I split it with my sister-in-law. So it was very affordable to Ferrol. So I do know of some others that took a bus from A Coruña to Ferrol. So it's possible, but the information you gave me helped tip me off because I really didn't know where to begin.
And that's one of the things that I like about planning these trips is and writing these newsletters and doing these live conversations is I want to make the Camino feel doable for people who have this aspiration to do it, but might feel a bit overwhelmed with planning it. So so yes, for those that are watching this, whether it's live now or later on sometime, it is historically not easy to get to a lot of the Camino starting points. And some of us say that that's part of the Camino journey. In fact, when I volunteer on the Camino in France, where a lot of people start and they sit down at my desk, and one of the first things that I say to them is, "Congratulations, you've arrived." So, so that's and sorry for the
Yeah.
conditions here, but we've got a lot going on here. But let me,
Well, it was much easier, and the transportation was much nicer than I expected. All the
Mhm.
above. It wasn't
Yeah.
as rural or as primitive as I had thought in my mind it might be.
Yes,
So,
yes. Yeah, and it is, there's the infrastructure is here, but it's a matter of knowing it, knowing the resources, where to find, all the information that you need in order to get
true.
here. And so then once you got to our starting point in Ferrol, so tell us some of the things, how did you feel when you finally arrived after all of this, to start your Camino?
Well, there so it was a relief that it really worked out, that the planning worked out to get here. And really, there was just such an excitement, like I wanted to pinch myself. I couldn't believe it was really happening. It was about to unfold. There was nothing getting in the way. I was really here, and it was really going to happen. So there's a lot of anticipatory excitement. And that from time to time it might be a little bit of a struggle physically, or it has the potential. I found that it was easier than I expected to, because I think so many people embrace the notion that each person gets to drive their own Camino car. They can take breaks when they want to. They can go as quickly as they want to. Whatever it is, it's so individual, and that's what makes it, I think, so pleasant. One of the things that makes it so pleasant is you just make it what you want it to be. You don't have to, run, and you don't have to go like a turtle. You can find whatever path you want. Someone once said, um, oh, and I'm trying to think, a pilgrim doesn't have to be
A martyr.
martyr a martyr, and that's so true. You just go with that frame of mind.
Mhm. Yeah, and I tell people the Camino is gonna give you the challenges you're meant to have. You don't need to bring any more upon yourself if you don't want to.
That's true.
So
That's
some
very
people
true.
and some people wanna put some restrictions on themselves, and that's fine too. They want
Right.
to, you know, whether that's distance, whether it's what they bring, whether it's where they stay. My opinion is definitely that it doesn't matter how you please to do the Camino. And that's one of the things that I love about it is that it is
Mhm.
um, so available in so
So
many
many
ways.
people, yeah, and you find that every person that you meet along the way is doing it their way. The ones inside of groups are doing it their way,
Hmm.
even inside of a group. So there's no reason to not enjoy it. It's just impossible not to enjoy it.
Can you tell us about some of the people you've met?
Oh, fun. Fun. And I tend to be shy, so I really thought I was gonna keep my eyes focused on the ground and not look anybody in the eye, just kind of do my own thing.
Which is
And
fine.
what's happened is it's but and that is, but I found that it's been very naturally, happens organically, where somebody will say something. It's amazing how many times a topic has come up in another conversation next to me that somehow is tangentially, here I go, words again, relates to something that I have a commonality with. And so there's a large group from Canada, group about 20 or so, from Quebec province traveling together. And I had taken college courses in high school there, and so we've been talking about that. We've met some others from the States, a cute little British couple, and he's just retired, and so his wife's been doing research since April, right after he retired, for this particular trip. And so she's had fun planning, he's had fun thinking about it and walking. So, and it's amazing, not everybody looks like they've been running in races, that it's all shapes and sizes, and people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're, quote, in the top fitness of whatever you deem to be to fit. It's um, because if you take the Camino your own way, it's easy.
Mm.
So,
And now I should say you've only done 2 days, so
although I thought it was 3 days earlier when someone asked.
so but it's funny, Kathy, and I'm glad you're finding it easy so far, but
Yes.
I always tell people, that the Camino, it's not easy from start to finish. There's some challenges, and they may or may not be physical challenges. So, I
Correct.
know we were talking about some of the elevation that we have tomorrow. There was a
Mhm.
possible detour today, and when we looked at it, we chose not to take it because we looked at the elevation of the detour, and we were like, "Nah, we're not interested in climbing that high."
So that
Um, an extra 1,000 meters today, yeah. So we said, "No, we'll go with the regular one." Um, Tell us a little bit, have you had any surprises?
I'm surprised at how easy it's been seeming. And I thought, uh-oh, I'm gonna hurt, I'm gonna be sore, I don't know, blisters and whatnot. I've been watching and reading information consistently over the years about the Camino, do's and don'ts, and all that played a part, all came together. So it has been easier, even though the past few weeks I hadn't been able to train like I wanted to train prior. My body kind of knew what to do. It thought, oh, you were on a long walk. Oh, okay. Woke up and
Mhm,
rose to the occasion. I didn't hurt or anything. And I have to say, Rebecca, you have been so helpful through all of it. It's made it easier for me and my sister-in-law. I do not speak Spanish. You're fluent. Um, you know the ways of the customs of timing for eating, whatever. So that's made it a lot easier for us in addition from trying to do a little bit of training and try to
mhm,
do what we could on by ourselves to be
mhm.
prepared. So,
Yeah, and I think that's a thing too, that one of the reasons I wanted to do these hybrid kind of trips is to give people some of that comfort, at least to start, and then to set you
yes.
off to kind of continue on your own to Santiago and see what comes of that. Because I think there is a special magic to, you know, kind of taking the training wheels off and setting you
Mm,
free and seeing what
mhm.
comes. So yeah, we have one more day of walking together, and then you guys will do the last 4 days on your
Yes.
own. And we're doing a version of the Camino, where we're starting out with like 9 to 10 miles a day. And there is one day, but I don't think it's till your sixth day where you are doing 15 miles. But
Mhm.
by that point, ideally your body is adjusting,
Right.
and
Mhm.
adjusted to it. So that's part of the planning when I plan these trips is I'm not looking to get us to Santiago in record time. I always tell I always tell people,
Mhm.
especially when someone gets injured and they don't want to stop,
Mm.
and I'll say, well, do you actually want to get to Santiago, or do you want to limp into Santiago? So yeah, so that's why we're
Yeah.
doing it
Which
this
find out
way.
what your goal is, what your goal. But
Yes.
this has been very. It's just been pleasurable. And we find that there are 2 people that walk faster than me, and they walk faster than my sister-in-law, and they just take off. They're doing it at their own pace, and
Hmm.
nobody has to stick around, nobody has to slow down. It's just organically sort of everybody does their thing, and, um, it all works out. At the end of the day, we more often than not, we get together and talk about the day. And, it's just been a very cohesive and easy. I can't believe I'm using the word easy over and over again, but it really has been easy.
Hmm.
Surprisingly,
Okay. And
surprisingly easy.
I will say for people watching, not every Camino route or every Camino day is necessarily easy, but they can be for sure. We're
Even
doing
in the rain, even in
that.
the
Yeah,
rain.
we had a full
Yeah,
day of rain yesterday.
yeah. The first day was full of rain from the beginning to the end. And I was amazed again. It was no big deal. It really didn't. I thought, "Oh, I remember getting my rain gear. Oh, I hope I don't take them out, and maybe I need a gaiter for my neck, gaiter for my ankles." It was if you're prepared, you're prepared. You know what to wear, you have the clothes. But it was fun. I thought it was fun walking in the rain. So I mean, I don't see any unpleasantries to this. I just
Mhm.
haven't. So it was fun. First day walk in the rain, and you made the remark, well, we'll get this over with. It has to rain sometimes, so let's get it over with. And it was fine. Absolutely
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. And what I meant was, hey, we're getting a rainy day out of the way, day one. So hopefully we don't have to deal with that
That's true.
anymore. We might.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be
And
interesting,
that's
Kathie.
okay.
It'll be interesting to talk to
Mhm.
you post Camino to see if this sense of
Right.
ease sticks through your Camino or
That's right.
yeah,
Now
yeah.
I
So
suspect a little anticipation of yikes, when you set the little birds free to fly, and we'll be on our own to look for all the markers.
mhm.
That's where I'm a little, um I'm not apprehensive. I suppose I don't trust myself, but I think when I need to look, I've been a little bit more cavalier because I know that Rebecca's been looking, and so I just need to buckle down a little more with that. But I think between my sister-in-law and I will tag team on finding those signs
And
and
for people
finding
that
other people to follow.
I was going to say, for people that are concerned about getting lost and that kind of thing, what can you tell people about the trail markers or about staying on the Camino and things like that?
I have read about people walking miles out of the way and then having to recoup those miles to walk back to get back where they were. Um, and maybe it's the route we're taking, but I don't know how you can get that far. I don't want to say that and jinx myself, but it seems like, when you don't know, and you've told me just look ahead. If you don't see something, look ahead. Try to see if you see something ahead. Um, but if I do, I feel like I would do. But there are also resources like Buen Camino app, things like there are resources that didn't exist years ago that now make it a lot easier to stay on track. So
Hmm.
I don't have any concerns about that other than the first time or two I have to try it and do it
Hmm.
myself. But then
Yeah.
I know that'll just give me more confidence in figuring it out after.
Yeah, and there's kind of an art to it is in general, it's a well-marked trail, but also people get into conversations, they get distracted,
Right.
they start
Yes.
whatever, but I think what saves people a lot of times is you recognize how frequent the trail markers are, and if you don't
Yes.
see them in a while, it's usually a
Yeah.
sign, and then you look around and do you see any other pilgrims? Because
Mhm.
pretty much from May to October, there's going to be other pilgrims along the route. So if you stand there long enough, one should walk by you.
It will
Uh,
happen.
yeah, and so those are some other ways. But what you were saying too about looking ahead is because sometimes you get to a point and you're like, which way do I go? And I feel like the trail marker should be right at that intersection, but it's often just a little bit ahead. So
Mhm.
I
They
just
can be
wanted to
sneaky.
explain to people when you were talking about, oh, just look ahead, like just walk along and then oftentimes you see it. So
Right.
mm,
Then that's usually if there's been like a fork in the road or something of those lines, and that
mhm,
you follow the main road unless it tells you otherwise.
mhm, mhm,
And if you haven't seen something that's maybe you need to retrack your steps to see if there was other information immediately prior that you might have missed.
mhm. And the Buen Camino app is really a good app because I always recommend that people make sure that they have cell coverage while they're on the Camino
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
that app in particular, you can turn on the location and you can literally look at the map and it puts a blue dot where you are and there's a yellow
Wow.
line where the Camino is. And ideally, they're both in the same place. But if they're not, you can see mm, where you are, how far off you are. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'm having a lot of confidence in that.
good.
And keeping my eyes peeled. Keep my eyes peeled too.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think between the 2 of those, hopefully, it'll have a
Yeah.
happy ending. But I think it must work pretty well because I think it was yesterday when the hotel we were staying in was a little bit off of the trail, but the 2 other people walking ahead of us found it with ease because they had the information of how to get there. So even if it's not exactly a dot on the Camino, it's usually not that hard to
Mhm.
find. what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I should explain that a little bit to people who are watching that there are plenty of accommodations right on the Camino or in Camino towns, but not always. And maybe not always the kind of accommodation that you specifically might want to stay in. So there
Mhm,
might be a
mhm.
hostel, but if you want to stay in a
Exactly.
private room, there might be something a little off Camino. And so there are accommodations that will pick you up in the nearest town. There are also
Mhm.
some where they will just tell you how far it is to walk. Off the Camino to get there, and
Yeah,
people can do that.
everybody wants to help. Everybody wants to help. Well, even yesterday, seems like 1,000 years ago, my sister-in-law left her passport at a restaurant and realized it shortly thereafter, but it was we were far enough along where it was too hard to turn back. And so Rebecca made the call to that restaurant, and they said, "Yes, we had your passport, but we gave it to another pilgrim." And another pilgrim made it, dropped it off at the hotel in which we were staying. So everybody really wants to help. Everybody has the best wishes for success and help.
Mhm.
And they're not looking for anything in return. We never even saw
No,
the person who helped. They
no.
dropped it off and we're on their way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
And
pretty
they
nice.
it is, and one of the things that I love as well is, there's a solution. I mean, you can I mean, losing a passport is no small thing, um, but this idea of giving it to another pilgrim for anybody who's listening and is like, "Oh my gosh, why would they give your passport to someone else?" It's because most people on the Camino, by the time they figure out that they lost something, are not necessarily going to turn around.
Yeah,
Obviously, for your passport, you would. But as you were saying, it took us a little bit to even figure out when it could possibly be that she lost the
correct.
passport. And then, I was ready to get a taxi back there and da da da. But it was actually the woman at the hotel who said, "Oh, tell me the bar, I'll call them." Um,
Yes.
and the
It
reason
was
they give
amazing.
it was, and the reason they give it to another pilgrim is because they know we're all going in the same darn direction.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there is, we've only been on this thing for 2 days. We already have people that we've seen, multiple times over the course of the 2
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
And, you pull out that passport and show it to people. "Hey, do you know this American woman named blah blah blah?"
Correct.
And somebody's probably going to be like, "Oh yeah, yes, they are staying here." Or, "I saw her the other day." Like, word gets around.
Exactly.
It's pretty
Exactly.
incredible.
And when we all chat with each other, "Oh, where are you going next? So where are you staying?" Is there's constant sharing of information and what you
Mhm.
like about this. Have you been there before? But yes, it's funny how you instantly have this camaraderie uh, we're walking on this Camino. So you, these quote friends that I'll never see again, or maybe we'll stay in communication, but we stay in tune. Have you been here? Oh, have you been to the church yet? Or have you been whatever? But I can see very easily somebody saying with a passport, "Oh, yes, I know exactly who that is." And she says she's walking on to
Mhm.
XYZ location. And that pilgrim makes sure it gets over there.
Mhm.
So it's
And
pretty
another thing,
amazing.
you have your US passport, but then we have what's called a credential, which is the thing that you
Oh,
get
yes.
stamped along the way. So
I
tell us a little
love
bit about the
this.
credential.
It's so much fun. It's your Camino passport, and, you get it stamped when you pick it up at the, Camino office, and there are many, quote, "bars." It's not like a bar with everybody sitting around tossing beer back. Bars can be where you can get a light sandwich or snack and, a light beverage or a heavier beverage, but you have that choice. And if you do, um, many of them carry stamps, and you stamp your passport as if it is a real passport, your Camino
Mhm.
passport. And it's fun because each one's different. Each one's been fashioned by the proprietor of that restaurant. One gave a story about his daughter just creating a design. Um, Another has the emblem the of their hotel. So there are lots of different ways, and it's so much fun. I feel like a child. I'm originally from Mardi Gras. Like I want another Mardi Gras bead. I want to go get another. I want to get another stamp. I want to see how many, and you can get as many as you want. And at the end of the Camino, you can turn it in to prove that you traveled X amount of kilometers. That you then can get a certification of
Mhm.
walking the Camino. So it's
Yeah.
lots of fun.
And for those of you
Lots of
listening,
fun.
especially when you walk the last 100 kilometers or 60 miles at the Camino, you have to get a stamp in your pilgrim passport. You have to get two per day if you want to get the official Compostela at the cathedral, well, in the pilgrim office in Santiago de Compostela. If you don't want that certificate, it doesn't matter what you do with your stamps. The other thing to know about stamps is that you can actually get as many as you want because if you fill up your credential, you can get another one. So sometimes people are kind of like, oh, well, I'm almost running out of room. And I always say, oh, enjoy the stamp process
Yeah,
because you can definitely get another one at
it's fun.
tourism offices,
It's
churches. Yeah.
and it's double-sided. It's like an accordion when it opens up, but I noticed that there's a whole 'nother backside to explore and get more stamps too, so I'm on a mission to get as many stamps as possible.
Cool.
So,
So Kathie, my last question for anyone who's, thinking about doing the Camino, but they're not really 100% sure if this is something for them or whatever, what advice would you give? What would you say?
I'd say go for it. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So to me, it's a no-brainer, is give it a try. Do, if you can, incorporate an expert like a Rebecca. It makes a huge difference in the quality of your experience.
Mhm.
So if you can, positively, I mean, Rebecca has added so much to what the whole experience is about. So if you have an opportunity to, I can't imagine anybody regretting it. So I personally think it's you have everything to gain. So
Wonderful. Wonderful.
go
Thank you
for
so
it.
much for
Go
that.
for it.
And there's so many ways to do the Camino, as I've said before, and that's what
Yes.
I love about it. So if people want
Hmm.
to do it, everything planned ahead with a guide, with a hybrid situation like I do, where you have a guide and then you don't. And or if you want to plan it all on your own, like there's just a lot of options for it. And I really
There
appreciate
are.
you, Kathie, saying that.
This
And I'm
has
glad
been
that you
fun.
found the option that works for you. So
I
that's
know, and
awesome.
I'm excited about it. I'm just as excited today as I was when I started. I mean, I can't wait to see what unfolds tomorrow. Every
Yeah,
day, it's like Christmas morning. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen? So
it
it's
is.
been lots of really, really satisfying.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us. For
My
everyone
pleasure.
who's watching this, whether live or later, I'm Rebecca from the Camino Calls. I'm here with Kathie, we are live from the Camino Inglés, which is a 5 to 9 day route along the Camino de Santiago. If you want more information about the Camino, feel free to head over to the caminocalls.substack.com, and I have tons of information on there to help you along the way, as well as information if you'd like some help planning your trip or if you'd like to join one of our next guided trips. Thanks so much, Kathie. And
Perfect.
I'm looking
My
forward to talking to
pleasure.
you post Camino.
Yes, I can't wait. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.